Look at this. It's a beautiful visual representation. This is the end product of one of the projects that we did. It's what we call the issue map. It's actually a causal loop map mapping out the whole ecosystem of the migrant worker experiences in Singapore. So let's rewind back into sometime around April 2020 last year. April 2020 last year, Singapore, a lot of us, we went into a lockdown. So all of us were just working from home. And the COVID situation at that point of time kind of when it was really serious, but a lot of the spreading was happening in the migrant worker dormitories. So what happened then was a lot of the issues that migrant workers face, a lot of the things that happen in their lives, they got a spotlight at that point of time. So there was this pressing need to understand the ecosystem, to bring the different players in this ecosystem together, to map out the issues, to build relationships within the ecosystem. And how do we do that? So before I go on, I just wanted to acknowledge that this project was, the beautiful representation was magically created by Javine Teo from the Singapore studio. Behind the scenes, working on the different workshops, we had Bill, myself, and former Think Places, Laura and Joshua. So it was a series of 5 3-hour workshop sessions over 3 months. We had in 105 unique individuals, including 15 migrant workers from 53 organizations and different categories of organization. We had the government agencies, the employers, the trade association, the dormitory operators, the NGOs, the foundation, religious groups, recruitment agencies, and also our friends at the National Volunteer Philanthropic Center. So we conducted workshops entirely online, and we spoke with maybe about 60 or 70 people during each workshop, and this happened over 3 months. So what you saw earlier on was the end product, but during the workshop, it was this. In the workshop, we had 10 different groups mapping out different issues in different areas of the ecosystem. It could be around like the social integration, it could be around empowerment, it could be around employment, it was around economic growth. And from this map, this crazy map that you see here, what happened next? So I'm going to show you what happens behind the scene and how we got to that beautiful map that you saw initially. So it was like that. As always, we had to go back into the office, and great, we could actually go back. And from that crazy mess that you see earlier on, we sat down, the team of us, we started, yes, Bill, there's a lot of crying from the recollection. So we sat down and wrote it out in Post-its, put it up on the wall, debated each other and said that, no, it should be this way, it should be linked this way, issue should be that. And we created the map in the middle that you see from our internal synthesis bashing session. We got the map in the middle. We put the map in the middle back into the workshop and said to the workshop participants, okay, so this is the first cut of what we've heard earlier from the group. Now have a look at this. What do we miss? What are we missing? What do we need to add into this? And different people gave the different commentary, and we captured all that. And finally, bringing all that together, we eventually ended up with the complex issues map here. Now, maybe the question you're asking is, what's all these colors about? Javine has told me to say that if you're looking for the hex code, you can contact her. She has all the hex code. But jokes aside, the color codes are actually very important for someone to make use of this toolkit. So if you think about it, eventually what happened was these maps went into a toolkit that was provided, it was given back to the people who participated in the workshops, and also to other people who may not have been in the workshop, to use as a starting point, or to use in order to maybe come up with programs or initiatives, or for the government side to think about policies, and how do they use this. The different colors actually represented different like systems or subsystems. And in the different systems, what we did is that we linked it all together. And the basis of it is also coming from the stakeholders map. So if you look at this, this is the stakeholders map, and it also builds on the same rationale of the different color coding of the different systems. And in this stakeholder map, we mapped out what are the interests and the constraints of the different stakeholders, the stakeholder players in this ecosystem. And this is kind of like just a starting point for everyone in the ecosystem. And we did tell them that, you know, it could be a living document where they could build further and bring in more people into the ecosystem, and they could further build out these maps. So how do we get to that map, the stakeholder map? Again, it was a mess on Mural trying to get everyone to map out the ecosystem. We synthesized and combined different maps into one big major stakeholder map. And from there on, we gave it back to the group and said, all right, so this is what we had from the earlier session. And what else do you want to build on this map? And again, the group contributed and built out the map further. So from there, what we synthesized was back to this, the last representation that we had. And so how do we make use of this toolkit? I mean, we had that problem, right? Like we give them this map, everyone says it's beautiful, but what do we do? What do we do with this? How do we use this? So we built out a information design, and Javin thought of, you know, maybe we should start with something that has no colors, just to bring people through the journey of what this map is all about. So we started one without any colors, but laying everything down, explaining what is the system, the bigger system, which is the parallel service system, Singapore economic system. So that's the macro system outside. What are the subsystems within the ecosystem? And that's the subsystem layer. What is the experience the migrant worker actually experiences? And that's in this inner experience layer. And the persona, which is the migrant worker themselves. And from here, we layered on the coloring and gave people this as the coding. What do each subsystem refer to? And from here, we ended up with the final two stakeholder map where people could use. And so that's me.